Why have I called the channel That Notion? Well, it comes from when I was setting up the coaching business, and it's something that resonates with me quite a bit. We all go through life having notions for things. Now, a lot of the time it's a notion for a cake and a notion for a drink or whatever. But the notions I'm talking about are the ones where we've always got this little ambition. We've always got this notion of doing something more. Doing something, whether it be starting a business, whether it be doing something different, whether it be getting fitter, whatever. We all have notions. And this is about focusing in on those notions. And that's important to me just now. So that's why it's called That Notion. That's why a lot of things connected with me just now are called That Notion. It's about focusing in on the notions that we have and moving forward with them rather than spending, and we've all done it, we've come up with a great idea and 10 years later still had that great idea and probably half a dozen or a dozen other great ideas. This is about moving forward with the ones that are important to us. So here's a question. If I'm a coach, then why am I asking all these questions of myself? Surely I have the answers already. But the point is that coaching or life coaching is not about having the answers. It's about asking the right questions and allowing the person that's being coached, in this case I'm coaching myself, but it's about letting the person who's being coached, letting them focus, asking questions that will allow them to get a bit of a focus on where they're wanting to go, what they're wanting to do, what the next step is, what are the obstacles that are in the way. Because that's a great thing, we can have great things, great ideas, and we head in a particular direction, and then there's an obstacle. And because we haven't maybe thought it through, or maybe we've bitten off too big a chunk, we fall at the first or the second or the third hurdle, The resilience maybe isn't there because we've taken too much on in one go. And I think that it's something that by asking lots of questions about things, we find the right answers for things. So that's why I ask a lot of questions rather than just say, this is the way it should be done. Why the van? It's a nice, simple answer. There's actually a few answers to it. Yes, it's about touring. Yes, it's about building something and giving myself a project. But it's also about, I want to work from the van. Whether it be in making the videos, whether it be in doing research, whether it be even in a bit of coaching or something like that. A few days a week getting out in the van, because where I work and where I've worked for the last 5 years or more has been basically a small room in my house. In fact, this room where a lot of my time has been spent on Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, whatever, looking at a screen like this and say, yeah, I want to get out. Is when I got the van, I thought I'm not going to spend all that money on something that maybe I'll go out every month or few months or something like that, go on a bit of a tour. I want to be using it, and it gets me out, it gets me to see different things. And so I'll be working from the van as well as going on adventures and making videos and all that sort of thing. So that's why the van. Why am I so concerned about retirement? Well, there's an author called Gretchen Rubin, does a lot of pop psychology stuff. One of the things that she does is the 4 tendencies. 4 tendencies are the way that we tend to react to things. Now, it sounds as if the whole human race can't be on 4 tendencies, but they're slightly general, and it goes into a bit more detail than that. It's also a bit of fun. One of the tendencies, or the tendency that I tend to be under, is questioner. I used to drive my mum mad with asking the same question. As she would say, I would ask the same question 100 different ways. And that's just what I did. I asked lots and lots of questions. And what it's about is I need to get a question that gives me the answer the way that I understand it. And I sometimes think that I need to get the question that I'm happy with before I'll let it be and I'll move on. And with retirement, there's a bit of that where I've been looking for the right question, if you like. I've been looking for a question that gives me the answer that I want. And over the last while, and including when I was talking on the last video, which was about quite a lot of my concerns about retirement, it's allowed me to focus, it's allowed me to ask those questions and answer them for myself. There's been quite a lot of writing things down, quite a lot of journaling. I've talked with friends as well, especially people my age, who are either starting to think about retirement or have moved into retirement. And I think I've got more of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for retirement on my terms. Yes, technically, if I look up all the definitions of retirement, I've retired. But I'm building a new business, I'm still working, but I'm doing it on my terms. That is different to just pottering around or doing things whenever I fancy or anything like that. It's on my terms. So if I want to work a 40 or 50 hour week, I can, but it's for me. If I want to work a 10-hour week, 1 week, I can. It's what I feel is needed. It's what I feel that I want to do. And so, like I say, it's retirement on my terms. And you know, I think I'm happy. I'm happier at that with that definition, rather than saying, oh, you can do what you want, or you've got the chance, or you've got the freedom, or anything like that. And this is what I say about the questioning. I got the right question at last. I've got the right definition. It's retirement on my terms. And I'm really happy about that. The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin are 4 ways of looking at how people react to things, what their natural inclination is when a situation happens and how they react. The 4 tendencies are upholder, obliger, rebel and questioner. If you get a chance, I would definitely recommend. I'm a bit of a Gretchen Rubin fanboy, I must admit. I'll admit that anywhere. But if you get a chance, try 4 Tendencies. And one of the things it's really useful for is if you're trying to get ahead with something, but you keep having, like, there's blocks that you don't quite understand why, or you're trying to find the right way for you to move ahead, then sometimes it's worth finding out where you're starting from. And if you are like me with retirement as an example, if you're a questioner, then you need to understand that you need to get those questions right. You need to keep questioning. And so rather than getting stressed out about, I can't work this out, I can't work this out, it's realizing that you're a questioner. Because the majority of people are obligers. And obligers tend to put other people first. And when it comes to actually doing things for themselves, keeping boundaries, that kind of thing, then it can become very difficult. And so there's techniques. Realizing that you are an obliger, starting from a particular point, allows you to then start building techniques of how you can actually work out how you can do things like keeping boundaries and making sure that boundaries aren't crossed and that sort of thing. So it's a really useful starting place. It takes 10 minutes to do. You'd think 10, 15 minutes of a questionnaire online, what's that going to tell me about myself? But it's strange how much that it does. Obviously there's lots of other things that help with these sorts of things as well, but it's a great starting place. The last why. Why all the whys? Well, whys, quite often in coaching we talk about whys as kind of being the reasons why we do things. No pun intended. It's knowing what that why is helps you a great deal. And I often describe it as a why is something that when you think about it, you become excited about, or you can feel invested in it. And that's because the whys are related to your values. And understanding your values means that you're going to have more motivation to do something. You're going to be more resilient. You're going to get up and go that bit more. if you're doing something that is aligned well with your values. For me, I realised that I was enjoying coaching. I realised that IT, where I was working before, the IT had passed its sell-by date for me. I looked into my values, and one of the values that kept cropping up close to the top for me a lot was creativity. And I realised from that one of the reasons I got into IT is because I enjoyed creating applications, building systems, solving problems. Solving problems is a fantastically creative thing sometimes. That's why I get into it, and less of that was part of my function or part of my job, part of my team's job. And so that's why I grew disheartened, and I didn't enjoy it anymore. That creativity, that's a very black and white rough way of saying it, but that creativity, if you like, had disappeared. Remember, at the same time, in parallel, I was starting to get into coaching, and that coaching had come partly because I wanted to do better as a manager, and so I get into the coaching for parts of my team. And, well, for all of the team, for whoever needed it, use it whatever way. But I realised because of that, the more I looked into coaching, the more I started looking into myself. And we're back to the questions again, the understanding. And when I started realising that I enjoyed helping people, and that I enjoyed creativity. And coaching, if you like, is quite a creative thing, so that it fitted in with that. Then there was things where, for one reason or another, I started doing workshops, which built up. You need to build them, you need to, if you like, create them. I started doing videos elsewhere, which were more workshop style, which was very focused on particular topics. And I realised that I enjoyed that level, and that in coaching there could be creativity as well. So finding my whys, finding my values meant that I was closer to the authentic me. And the closer I get to the values, and the closer I'm getting to a life that's working for me, a retirement that's on my terms, all these kind of things. And that's something that surely is a positive way of moving forward. That's kind of where I am just now, and I'm quite happy with that. So I think that's pretty much everything I've got to say today. Again, I am trying to put a bit of the scenery around the place, which is a lovely place. I do apologise, it's Scotland, it's raining, so there's rain on the windows. If you're interested in finding out what I was talking about in more detail about retirement and why I have problems with it or had problems with it, then check out the first video where I go into a bit more about that and what I'm actually wanting to do. Thank you very much, and thank you especially for all those people. I am absolutely gobsmacked at how many people have subscribed already, and the likes and a few comments and even messages I've got from people. And it's really, really cool that this isn't friends. These are people I don't know. They've just subscribed, which is, I really do appreciate that. So thank you very much. And hopefully you'll tune in and watch the next video. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.